Another shot fired. Another victim of the Son of Sam. New York is terrified. People aren't just walking the streets anymore. They're running, looking over their shoulders, wondering if they'll be next. What if I told you that one of the most terrifying killing sprees in American history could have been stopped months earlier? And what if I told you the reason it dragged on wasn't just the killer himself, but the very police sworn to protect New York? In 1976 and 77, a man calling himself the Son of Sam terrorized the city with a .44 revolver. 6 dead, 7 wounded, in a city living in fear. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The investigation was slow, clumsy, outdated, and in the end, the police may have given David Berkowitz more time to kill. So tonight we're asking the controversial question, did the NYPD actually help Son of Sam kill? It was the summer of '76. New York was broke. Crime was sky high, blackouts, gang violence, a city on edge. And then the shootings began. Couples sitting in parked cars, ambushed with a .44 Bulldog revolver. Random, brutal, and merciless. By the summer of '77, 6 people were dead, 7 more were injured, and millions of New Yorkers were terrified just to step outside at night. Every headline screamed the same thing. A psycho killer was on the loose, and the police couldn't stop him. But to understand why Son of Sam wasn't cut earlier, you have to know how different policing was back then. No DNA testing, no automated ballistics system, no CCTV cameras on every corner. Detectives used typewriters, index cards, and phones. Ballistics had to be checked by hand, bullet by bullet. Tips were written on paper slips, and evidence piled up faster than investigators could keep track. The NYPD even built a 200-man task force, but the truth? They were working blind. Inside one police plaza, the mood was pure chaos. The Son of Sam task force grew to over 200 detectives, the largest manhunt in New York's history. Every day, new leads flooded in. Thousands of tips from terrified citizens, psychics, and attention seekers. But here's what the public didn't see. There were no computers to organize any of it, no database, just walls covered in index cards, maps with pins, and stacks of folders piled on desks. Detectives worked 18-hour days, fueled by coffee, fear, and the pressure of a city on edge. Every officer wanted to be the one to crack the case, but with so many voices, so many egos, coordination fell apart. And while the NYPD drowned in paper, Berkowitz was still out there, calmly writing taunting letters, driving around the city, hunting. The press didn't help. The New York Daily News published every new letter. The killer's words spread faster than the police could act. Berkowitz was becoming a celebrity, and the police were becoming the villains of their own investigation. At one point, detectives even questioned the wrong suspects, innocent men, wasting weeks chasing false leads while Berkowitz planned his next move. By the summer of '77, the NYPD wasn't leading the case anymore. The case was leading them. So how did they finally get him? Not with genius detective work, not with cutting-edge forensics, but with a parking ticket. After the final shooting, police found a ticket on a car near the scene. That car belonged to David Berkowitz. That's what ended the year-long reign of terror. Not strategy, not technology, just luck. And that luck came far too late for 6 victims. But who was David Berkowitz, the man behind the terror? Born Richard David Falco in 1953, adopted soon after birth. He grew up feeling rejected, abandoned by his birth mother, and misunderstood by his adoptive parents. Neighbors called him quiet, odd, withdrawn. But inside, he was a storm. By his 20s, he was obsessed with fire, violence, and the occult. He believed demons spoke to him through his neighbor's dog. In his letters to police, he wrote about Sam, a demonic father figure commanding him to kill. But beneath the delusion, there was calculation. He studied the press coverage. He changed boroughs to confuse detectives. He picked couples in cars because he knew that's where people felt safe. He wasn't just a killer. He was a manipulator, a man who learned that fear was a weapon. And as long as the police stayed one step behind, he had all the power. When he was finally arrested, Berkowitz smiled for the cameras, calm, almost relieved. He told police, "I was doing what the voices told me to do." But deep down, maybe he just wanted the attention that the world and the NYPD had finally given him.
24-year-old postal worker who lived alone. He was smiling as he was brought in. Detectives displayed a .44 caliber pistol found in Berkowitz's car. The police lab says its tests indicate this was the gun used in the most recent Son of Sam slaying. It was Berkowitz's car that led police to him. It had been ticketed for being parked by a fire hydrant on the night of the most recent murder, just a few blocks from the murder scene. Routinely following up the ticket, police found the car in Yonkers and noticed a .45 caliber machine gun inside and an envelope addressed in the killer's style of handwriting.
He was apprehended.
Besides the .44 pistol and the .45 machine gun, police seized a lot of ammunition at Berkowitz's apartment, along with a folder of press clippings with a poem written on the outside. The suspect doesn't bear much resemblance to any of the recent artist conceptions used by police, but one sketch drawn over a year ago does bear some resemblance to this Polaroid picture taken of the suspect on this night of his arrest.
Now let's fast forward to today, 2025. Could Son of Sam even last a year in today's world? Probably not even a month. Here's why. Gunshot detection systems would log the exact time and place of every shooting. Ballistics databases would instantly match every crime scene to the same gun. DNA analysis on Berkowitz's infamous taunting letters? That would identify him within days. Surveillance cameras, license plate readers, digital forensics, all of it would close the net around him long before his summer of fear ever began. Today, the case would be solved by science, not by luck. And this is where the story gets uncomfortable. Did the police directly help Berkowitz kill? No, of course not. But here's the harder question. When 6 people are murdered because the system was too slow, when the technology wasn't there, when investigators were overwhelmed and drowning in leads, doesn't that failure carry some responsibility? Would those lives have been saved if the tools of 2025 existed in 1976? Or did the police of the time, without meaning to, become part of the reason Son of Sam got away with murder for so long? I'll leave that for you to decide. The Son of Sam case is remembered as a story of evil, but maybe it's also a story of missed chances. A reminder that sometimes the biggest threat isn't just the killer in the shadows, but the cracks in the system that's supposed to protect us. So I'll ask you, did the NYPD, in their failure, actually help Son of Sam kill? Comment below, because I want to hear what you think. And if you want more deep investigations like this, don't forget to subscribe.